What's up, guys, and welcome back to Will Sports Talk. So, this is gonna kind of be the start of like a 4-part series. This is gonna be part 1 of my college football playoff teams that I think could be like dark horses to make their way into the college football playoff. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick one team from each Power 4 conference that I think has a chance to make the playoffs this year. And I'm going to start with the SEC. And for the SEC, my criteria is going to be a little different because the SEC is just so wide open. I think there's many teams this year that could find their way into the playoff. So for the SEC, I'm going to do which team do I think not only could make their way into the playoff, but kind of make a pretty deep run in the playoffs, with the playoffs moving to a 12-team format. So with that being said, that team is the Tennessee Volunteers. Now, Tennessee, they did kind of have a little bit of a down year last year under Josh Heupel. They went 9-4 this past year. Tennessee did lose quarterback Joe Milton. He was obviously a very dynamic play caller for Tennessee last year. They lost tight end McCullen Castles. They lost cornerback Kamal Haddon. And then they lost running back Jalen Wright, all to the draft a few weeks ago. And then Tennessee also lost 15 players to the portal this offseason. But that's enough talking about the negatives. We're not here to talk about the negatives. Let's talk about some of the positives for Tennessee football going into this football season. Tennessee has also gained 8 players through the portal this offseason, 3 of which you have Jalen McMurray coming from Temple. You got Jermod McCoy coming from Oregon State. And then you have Jacoby Thomas joining from Middle Tennessee. They brought in all 3 of those players to kind of help strengthen that secondary and help to replace the holes that they did lose from that secondary, because this past season, that secondary was a big weakness for Tennessee. So bringing them in to strengthen that area is going to be huge. I think that secondary is going to look a lot better for Tennessee this coming up year. And then on top of that, they basically returned their whole defensive line from last year. And they also bring in Jackson Moy from Stanford to kind of help fill the hole they did lose on that defensive line. So expect that defensive line to be a lot better for Tennessee this coming up year. Now, jumping over to the offensive side of the ball, let's talk about the offense some. Tennessee returns quarterback Nico Lamelieva, and I apologize if I butchered that name. He's returning for his 2nd year at Tennessee, and this is going to be his first season as the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Volunteers. Nico, he's a very talented quarterback that has shown he has the ability to throw the ball all around the yard. He showed that he has the ability to shred defenses in that 35-0 victory over a top 5 defense in the Iowa Hawkeyes. And Tennessee, on top of that, also has a lot of skill players returning on the offensive side of the ball. They have running back Dylan Small returning. They have wide receivers Brew McCoy returning. They have wide receiver Squirrel White, Deontay Thornton, wide receiver Caleb Webb, and then Chaz Nimrod, all returning for another year for Tennessee football. So this offense is going to be electric. Tennessee also brings in wide receiver Chaz Brazel, came from Tulane, brought him in to help kind of strengthen that wide receiver depth. And Brazel, I can see Brazel being a day one contributor for this team. I expect him to be really good for Tennessee football. And Tennessee has also recruited a 4-star wide receiver, Braylon Staley. Braylon Staley, he is a perimeter guy with good hands. He has good body control. He can get separation. They brought him in to kind of strengthen that wide receiver depth as well. So Tennessee is going to look very good at the wide receiver position. I expect Tennessee to score points this year. Tennessee should have one of the best offensive lines in the SEC this year, with 3 starters returning, and Josh Heupel has went and filled the remaining holes on the offensive line through the transfer portal. So, with all this being said, let's take a look at their schedule. And at first glance at this schedule, I don't see any reason Tennessee should not have at least 9 to 10 wins this coming up year. Tennessee starts off the year against Chattanooga. That's going to be an easy win. Then the next, they got NC State at a kind of a neutral site game. I do see this game being tough for Tennessee, but I do see Tennessee edging this game out against NC State. Then they play Kansas State at home. That should be another easy win. And then here comes their first bump in the road, in my opinion. They go on the road to Norman to play Oklahoma. And this is going to be a back-and-forth high-scoring game. I can go ahead and tell you that now. But with this game being in Norman, if this game was in Knoxville, it would be different. But with this game being in Norman, I'm going to take Oklahoma to edge this game out over Tennessee. Then they got their bye week on September 28th. Then after the bye week, they go to Arkansas. And Fayetteville can be a tough place to play. But at this point, I think Tennessee is a lot more talented. They have a lot more depth than Arkansas. I like Tennessee big in this game. And then they play Florida at home. Same thing I said about Arkansas. I think Tennessee's more talented than Florida. They have more depth. I like Tennessee big in this game. Then they go to Tuscaloosa to play Alabama. An Alabama team post Nick Saban, 10-plus players drafted, a brand new head coach, first-year head coach, new coordinators, Alabama basically starting over from scratch. I think this year, Tennessee's just going to have a better team. With all the things surrounding Alabama this year, I think Tennessee goes into Alabama and knocks off the Alabama Crimson Tide in this game. Then they have another bye week on October 26th. Then on November 2nd, they play Kentucky at home. Now, this could be a trap game. There's always one game that Tennessee tends to trip up. So I do see this game being close, but I think Tennessee's too talented this year. I think they get the W on this one. Then Mississippi State comes to Knoxville. Mississippi State, same situation as Alabama. Brand new head coach, brand new coordinators. First year head coach at that. I think Tennessee gets the win over Mississippi State. Then they go to Georgia. And this is a game, this game's in Athens. This game is a game to where I think if this game was in Knoxville, I think Tennessee would have a chance to knock off Georgia. Because Georgia's losing their best player. The best player in the country last year. and Brock Bowers. They're also losing Lab McConkey. They're losing numerous players on that defense. But with this game being in Athens, I'm going to take Georgia to pull this game out. And then the last 2 games of the year, they got UTEP. That's an easy win. And then they go to Vanderbilt, which should be another easy win. So that has Tennessee finishing 10-2 and just sliding into that playoff. And once Tennessee gets into that playoff, I think they have a pretty good chance to make a run. But that concludes this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Y'all make sure to like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what y'all think about this video. If y'all haven't seen some of my other videos, y'all go check those out. I hope y'all enjoyed it. And I'll see y'all on my next one. Thank you.